What a beautiful place. Hello and welcome to another adventure. I've come out to this amazing location I've found. I've come down the byway here and the byway ends, well actually it goes over the creek there, but I found this byway looking on the green road map and I knew it was a lovely location because I'd stopped and taken some photos the other side of the creek there. And so a couple of weeks ago I came up here for a recce and just to have a bit of a look round, and it was just magical. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back there one day with my cameras and the drone and just go and have a cup of coffee, you know, sit there and take it all in. It's just a beautiful location. I love the sounds here, the noises of the birds and the peacefulness. So what I thought I might do today is just well, you know, I wanted to come here and have a coffee and make myself a bit of a butty. But in doing that, I'd show you some kit that I've bought recently, which is kit that I want to use throughout this year. I've bought a couple of stoves for this year, which I think will be absolutely brilliant. So I thought I'd share with you what I've bought. So the first thing I'm going to show you is my lightweight kit. So this is my lightweight travelling stove. So if I'm out, you know, doing something like the Tet, or I'm going to be on my CRF 450 and I'm doing some camping and travelling and really light and doing some lanes on the day, so you want the bike to be as light as possible. So this is my lightweight cook kit, and so this is a Tokes, I think it's a 550ml pot, so it's a Tokes pot, and it comes in this orange little bag, although I've ordered a new little thing from Treadlight Gear, which is like a little insulated bag. So this is the Tokes pot, so they've got a stand for the gas bottles. Obviously it's got a lid. In fact, let's take it out. So you've got the bag, and then inside the bag I've got everything I need to cook. So all I then need, other than this, is some water and my food. So I've got a lighter, and then I've got this new little stove. So this is a BRS 3000 titanium. I mean, look at that, that is such a tiny little stove. And in comparison, this is the one that I tend to use. This is a brilliant stove. And these aren't a review, by the way, this is just me showing you my kit. So this is the lightweight BRS 3000 that I'm going to use this year. And then this is my was my go-to gas stove, but you can see the difference in size. And this is a great stove. I mean, if you're on top of a mountain, this is a Soto Windmaster. So if you're on the top of a mountain and it's a bit windy, then this is a brilliant bit of kit. But most of the time I'm going to be in a campsite or, you know, somewhere low level, probably even cooking in a tent. So I just thought that was a bit of overkill. And with that 3000, BRS 3000, it just fits nicely in there. So also in there, I've got my gas bottle. So that is a 100-gram gas bottle. So you've got enough gas in there for about 10 boils of water in fairly average temperatures. If it's really cold, you wouldn't get that, but yeah, so that's my gas bottle. So that just clips onto there like that. So that just clips onto there like that. And then this stove, the legs just fold out. So it's the simplicity that I like about this actually. It's such a easy little thing to use. So it's fairly windy here, sitting on the edge of the creek. Well, it is today anyway. Right, okay. So because that area is quite small there, then you need quite a small pan to go with it really, so that just works perfectly. I've used this a fair bit now, and it's been great. So let's put that there. So that's my lightweight stove. And then I've also got this cook kit. So I didn't have a petrol stove, and it just, you know, makes sense to me that if you're going to go away somewhere on the bike and you're fairly remote and you're away for quite a few times, so to save you worrying about gas, you know, you might as well use petrol, because you're always going to have petrol. You're always going to have plenty of petrol. So I thought having a petrol stove was probably the way to go. So this is my sort of more heavy duty kit, let's say, but it's still a fairly lightweight kit. So this is a Stanley stainless cook set. Got this on Amazon. So it's got a lid, pan grabbers for when you're grabbing a hot pan, a bit of sponge just for cleaning, there. And then this is my new stove, so I'll come on to that in a second. And then what you get with this Stanley, you actually get 2 of these mugs, but I only ever take one out with me because, you know, it's just me on the bike normally. So I just like having a mug like that because, you know, if you're drinking whiskey in an evening or you want to be posh and put your beer in a mug, you've got a mug. Yeah, so that's a nice little kit, that Stanley cook set kit. And this little stove fits into it nicely. So this is a Soto Muka. Now normally petrol stoves run quite poorly because the additives in the petrol, it blocks up the jets and stops the stove working. So people tend to use white gas, which is like Coleman fuel. But I've watched no end of reviews, and this gets good reviews. People really like it. And unlike a lot of other petrol stoves, you haven't got to prime it really. It's kind of self-priming, and doesn't take long to get up and running. So that's the stove. And to use that, you obviously need petrol. So in this bag here, so there's the petrol. So let's just put all that in there, just don't want it blowing away. So I think the stove was about 115 quid, and then and that comes with the pump, but the bottle you have to buy separately. I think that's a 400ml bottle, but you can only put 280 mils of fuel in it. It doesn't really matter if you've got a supply of fuel. Yeah, so for less than 150 quid, you know, you've got a really good petrol stove. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook up some food. I've got some black pudding, so I'm going to cook that up, and I'm going to make a brew, make a coffee, using both stoves, and I'm just going to sit here and enjoy the atmosphere and wait for the sunset, although it looks like now it's pretty much gone. What time is it? 6 o'clock? It's just a big black cloud in the way at the minute. Okay, right, so with these petrol stoves, you normally have to pump them up a bit, you have to prime them. So what you have to do with this, you have to turn this to stop, make sure that this is down, then you have to pump it until there's a little red marker there. When you won't see it because of how far away you are, but if I pump this up, so pump and pump until the little red marker comes out. Nearly there. Okay, so I've now got that little red marker. So take off the caps, and then that just, it's got a quick release little valve there. So that's onto there, smashing. So that's good to go. I also bought this new bottle. It's an Nalgene bottle. I bought a couple of them off Amazon because I just like the fact you can fold them away, and if you're not using them, then they don't take up so much space in your bag. And I bought two, one for water and one for to make my tent en suite, let's say. I've clearly marked the lid of the other one so they don't get mixed up. A bit more. Right, okay, just make sure that that's nice and level. Don't want that falling over. Okay. That will boil that in absolutely no time. It's a brilliant little stove. So also with the Soto Muka, you get this, which is a windshield and a little base to put the stove on. So I'm not going to use the windshield, but I will use the base. Just don't want to scorch the grass. Right, so on the petrol stove, so I'm just going to turn it to start. That's chucking out fuel now. And it normally takes about 10 seconds to get going. Just give it one or two more pumps. There you go, so you've got a nice flame on that now. It's looking good to go. So generally the problem with petrol stoves is simmering. They're not as good as gas. So I'm just going to get it as low as I can. So I've got some black pudding, some rolls in my bag, in the Tupperware tub there even, and I've just been and bought some garlic butter. That is going to be very nice. Yeah, petrol stoves can be really bad for making your pans dirty as well, and then everything else just gets dirty. So from what I've used of this stove so far, it's been really, really good. Right, so let's get this cut up quickly. Love black pudding. You're normally best off cutting it when it's quite cold, but that's quite warm, so it's broken up a bit, but do you know what? I don't care, because it will be lovely. So there's a nice big base to that Soto Muka stove, so you can use quite big pans on it, which I like. I've got this this thermal mug here, and well, I say it's a funny story. I can't think it's a funny story. So this came part of this coffee making kit called a Wakoko Pipamoka. I'll put a link in and some footage, and effectively it's kind of a bit like an AeroPress. So everyone knows AeroPresses are brilliant, but I just think they're too bulky, and I don't like the mug in the Mini, and I always like having a thermal mug. Anyway, so I bought this Pipamoka, and it wasn't very good. I didn't get on with it, but I thought the mug was brilliant. So what I always like to do when I make my coffee is I just do a pour over. So that's my caramel, instead of sugar, you know, caramel, what do you call it, like the moaning sauce stuff. So I just use one of these, which is a pour over. So that goes into my mug. Just put that there. That goes into the mug, and then in a bag I've got some ground coffee. So I'll put my ground coffee into the pour over thing. It's just a little mesh thing. I think it's actually a tea strainer, but I can't remember where I got it from. I've had it for years. It's been around the world about 8 times, that thing. So let's clean that off on the grass. So I've got my coffee in there, and then it's just a case of putting my water on that and just letting it simmer. And I just like having it in a thermal mug, because then it doesn't go cold quickly, you know, this time of year. And also, if you knock it over, you're not going to spill it, because I've done that before. I've spilt a massive mug of coffee all over my tent. Thankfully, last time I did it, I didn't get my sleeping bag wet, but I kind of thought, right, that's it, no more. And using a thing like this, they're just so easy to clean. You just bash it out at the end, and it's just coffee granules, so it's obviously organic, and it's compostable. We'll just give them a stir. It's getting quite dark now, best get a wriggle on. Yeah, so I much prefer this way of doing my coffee. It's just so much easier, quicker, less faff. AeroPresses are great, but there's just too much faffing about for me, and I like minimal fuss. So I'll leave that there. Bit of syrup. Okay, and now you've got, for sure, one amazing coffee. Oh, that's so nice. Okay, and I've tested this mug a few times. It's been in my bag, it's never leaked. So I do like that about this this kit. I'll probably will use the other thing again, but when we went to the festival, I bought this, and I bought my mate one, and as a bit of a gift, you know, and because we just like buying shit we don't need, as you do, and you know, the guys were just really taking the piss out of me doing this thing, and I just couldn't get it to work. It was a total faff. So, but at least the mug was good. Right. Okay. So once you've finished cooking with this, you just turn it to stop, and it'll eventually go out. No, in fact I need to leave that up. And then turn it to air on the dial. Just flushes out the system, which again is another thing I really like. And just let that finish doing that. Right, okay, let's be quick. Light's fading. Couple of rolls. Let's get that in there. Stand still, the front rank. Like a black pudding burger. What's to not like about that? Oh, that is delicious. So every time I go to my local BP and I buy a coffee when I'm filling up the disco, I always liberate a couple of HP saucers. Oh, right, Jamie Oliver, eat your heart out. It does not get any better than this. Right, okay. That is the nicest black pudding I've had in a long time. That was from my local butcher. So I'm definitely going to come and do this a few times, I think, in the summer. Just come and sit here and enjoy the sunset, maybe take a few photos, and I must remember to bring my binos next time and do a bit of twitching. It's a great way to de-stress. You know, in the summer when the nights are light and you've got plenty of time to get out and get over here. It's a really easy lane, the byway that comes down here, so I'll stick up a picture or something, you know, just make your way the other side of Colchester into Alresford, Alresford, not quite sure how you say it, I'm not a local. Well, I say I'm not a local, I'm only 25 miles away, but I don't know this part of Essex that well. I would imagine that, you know, 1,000 years ago, this river would have been, or this creek would have been quite active, because the river over there is the River Colne, and that flows into Colchester. And obviously Colchester was the capital of Roman Britain. And doing a bit of research the other day, I found that they did a dig just the other side of the river there at one of the farms and found an old Roman villa and bathhouse. So the byway actually goes across the creek to the other side, but you'd have to be insane to try that on a bike. But yeah, so it's obviously been quite, over the years, been quite a busy little place, but today it's just this very quiet, very idyllic, very beautiful little creek. I love it. Okay, well, thanks for joining me today. I mean, I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a video. I tried to do something a bit different today, something a bit more cinematic and take a bit more time, which I don't normally do because you're just racing around and you've got somewhere to go. So time is of the essence, where today I didn't really have anywhere to go, just take my time out on the bike and enjoy my surroundings. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully see you back on the channel soon for another adventure. or failing that, maybe I'll see you out on the trail riding your bike. But from Alresford Creek, bye for now.